Welcome to the Play Ed 3 podcast, where you're the reoccurring guest, whether you're in the classroom or shaping education behind the scenes. I'm Tisha Poncio.
And I'm Rick Butterworth. Together, we bring stories, insights, and conversations that matter to educators, learners, and change makers. Our goal is to bring everyone together to learn, grow, and play. Welcome to the Play Ed 3 podcast. My name's Rick, and as always, I'm here with my co-host Tisha. Tish, I had a thought the other day.
Did you?
I had a thought. I know it hurt my brain. It wasn't good. I should have relaxed.
I can't believe you just said that was an announcement I didn't expect.
I had a thought. But basically, I was thinking, we've talked about authenticity numerous times. We talked about it in our book.
Sure.
And I want to challenge my writing with this.
Okay.
We say about AI and how using prompts and stuff might damage authenticity and creativity and all these things. But actually, will it? Because could the prompts that we're writing be referenced as the authenticity of our work? And I know this is a very deep question right at the beginning of the podcast when we have a guest and everything, but it literally came to my mind and I was just
give me some more context on that because
How much more context do you want than is a prompt authentic?
Is the prompt authentic?
Yeah.
So the prompt that we are writing to ChatGPT?
Yes.
So we're bringing the authenticity
Which
to
then
ChatGPT.
is allowing the AI to create whatever it is. No?
I'm going to argue with that because we are bringing the authenticity to ChatGPT. Now, it doesn't mean ChatGPT is coming back authentic to us. You may believe that, and it's curating all of our conversations and all of the answers. But is it really accurate in that? And how does ChatGPT actually be authentic? Because my ChatGPT is like, that is a fabulous idea, Tisha. And I'm like, really? You do not? Why are you?
I always think
fake?
it's a fabulous idea when he says it back to me.
No, that's not authentic to me. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't know. Here's the thing. I am a little bit concerned about that question that you asked me because it has me thinking that I'm giving ChatGPT all of my authentic prompting. And it's going to go use it then when it talks to you or whoever else is out there. Now I'm a little angry at my own ChatGPT, and it's you wanted to get me on my soapbox.
I know I like to make you think about these things. I have random thoughts and questions, and just thought, you know what? Let's kick this off with an absolute banger. So
I'm glad you did. I always love your questions. They do make me think, and I'm sure they make our audience and our listeners think as well. Well,
no, they're probably thinking, "What an idiot for saying
no.
that."
What is not random is we have an incredible guest with us today, and if you are new to the Play It 3 podcast, what I want to remind you of is the purpose of this podcast, because the purpose of the podcast is really about playful curiosity, playfully having room to think and ask questions without judgment or shame. It is also a place where we want to bring community together, the community of educators. We are allowing educators a space and some room to share the stage and share what they're passionate about. And so a lot of our guests, you may be brand new to, but we aren't brand new. We found them, we saw them, they were on our timeline, they said something really important that we thought, you know what, we need to share that with the world. And this is no different for our guests today. We have Christina, and say your last name for everybody that's listening, because you and I went over this, but I want you to say it so they know exactly how to pronounce it.
Okay, Cardenas.
Yes. Now, Christina is a Texan. That's what you should know. So we have that in common. Sorry, Rick. I know he always fills out numbers.
You always get the Texans in. I'm like, when are we going to have a Brit on or something?
You know
just
what?
to balance
a great question. You know, as a gift to you, I think we'll have a Brit on soon.
Okay.
How about that?
All right, that sounds perfect. Please continue.
Okay, so Christina is from San Antonio. We love San Antonio. Rick and I were just in San Antonio, but this isn't about Rick and I. Christina, middle school, first of all, let's just highlight that. There is a special place in heaven for middle school teachers. She is an art teacher. She's been a teacher for 9 years. I didn't know this about her, but she's an Adobe Creative Educator Level 1. We love Adobe, and we know all the Adobe peeps. Do you know Claudio Zavalis, Christina? Do you know Claudio?
I've met him, yes.
Well,
he's great.
You know that Claudio and I have been friends for a very long time, long before Claudio and I started working for other edtech companies. And it's so interesting. Shout out to Claudio. Claudio we were at South by Southwest with Claudio, Rick and I.
That was great.
He's incredible. The whole team over there is fabulous. So we're going to give them a special shout out, Adobe. And then you also did academic tech coaching for 3 years. What am I leaving out that you want to share with our listeners?
Fun fact, I grew up going to private school all my life, and then I became a public school educator. So I've been able to see like different spaces and how they work. And that's been a really interesting, I guess, unique part of my perspective when it comes to education.
That is amazing. So you kind of have two. Let me ask you this. This was not planned, and I know Rick has a question for you, so I'm kind of like stealing a little bit of that. I know, already off script. But I want to know, at what point in your private school education did you say to yourself, "Oh, I want to be a public school teacher"? Like, was it while you were a student, or was it after?
That's a great question. The road to me getting to education is kind of like you, Tisha. It was just all over the place and not linear. After I graduated high school, I went to Texas State University in San Marcos, and I got a photography degree. So I was really into art since I was in elementary school, and I went to college for art. So education wasn't on my mind until I came back home and I started working a million part-time jobs trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do after college. Very common, right? And one of the places that I worked at was an art museum downtown called Art Pace. And Art Pace is a really unique museum. It's a contemporary art museum where it's a residency program, an international residency program. So artists will come and live in the building for 3 months, make artwork, and then display it. And they always have an international artist, a United States artist, and a local Texas artist. So I worked in the education department. And so students would come on field trips and they would tour the space, and we would talk to the kids about art, and we would explain what contemporary art is. And so it was working with kids in a museum setting that made me realize, oh my gosh, like I really love working with kids. And I don't like that I only see them once a year, because we would have a lot of repeat teachers come every year, right? So I thought, like, I really want to see them more often. And then this was also compounded by the fact that I was turning 26, and my dad was like, yeah, when are you going to get a job? Because you're about to get dropped from our insurance. And I was like, okay, look, I've been thinking about this, and I found an alternative certification program. I think I want to try becoming an art teacher. And then that's how it all happened. I went through Region 20, a local program here, and I actually took a job in a really small district, and I was a kindergarten teacher my first year.
Wow.
And so, another really interesting fact of my journey. And so that first year was amazing. I feel like I have the most stories from that first year because it was my first year.
It was your first year. It was public school, and it was kindergarten. I always say kindergarten teachers are true heroes. I have seen that in action. And so I'm sure that prepared you very well for your middle school journey.
Yes, very much so. So I thought I was going to stay in kinder for a long time because I ended up really enjoying my team and my campus. And then I thought, well, maybe I wasn't supposed to be an art teacher. Maybe this was just my road into education. And then an opportunity opened up in a district to become a middle school art teacher. And so I went for it. And then I stayed there for 8 years.
Wow.
And now I'm coming back to it this school year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's my long-winded answer.
No, that's amazing.
No, that's great.
Yes, we love it.
Yeah,
Rick?
absolutely fantastic. I mean, the first thing, you're from San Antonio. Well, you live in San Antonio, correct?
Yes.
I have to ask, did you go to SD this year?
I did.
Amazing. Was it your first time, or have you been
it was
numerous?
my first time. Yeah.
Okay. first question has to be, and I'm just go straight into it. What would you say, being at your first SD, what was the biggest highlight for you going to SD this year?
I think it was seeing perspectives from global teachers, from people from different parts of the world. That was incredible. And to see the unique circumstances that they face in their community, and then to see how, oh my gosh, all teachers everywhere face the same things as well. So just getting to learn from teachers who are from different countries, different communities, that was amazing. That's the first one. The second one was the expo hall. Oh my gosh, when I walked in the expo hall, I was like, where am I? This is incredible and overstimulating and amazing all at the same time. Those are the two big things.
Amazing. And did you go to any of the sessions around the conference and stuff? And what was your takeaway from the sessions itself? What did you enjoy the most from it in regards to sessions?
I feel like there's one session that popped into my brain right now. There was an educator from Argentina. I believe that she was a principal, and she was talking about what she had done in the classroom, or maybe she's a coach. She was like, she had taught for a long, long time. And then she was at the level where she was supporting teachers. So I'm trying to remember now. I think she was a coach, and she talked about, her title was so unique. And that's why I went to it. It was called the Messi effect. And she was talking about the soccer player Messi, but she also liked the play on words, thinking about education, right? So she talked about how she used Messi and his journey through his soccer career, and how he was like the embodiment of perseverance and grit, and how she was able to use that as a connection with her students. And I loved her session so much because she was like, you don't have to use Messi if you're not into soccer, or if your students aren't into soccer. Think about other people who have overcome adversity, like Disney and Oprah and Jordan and all these people. Think about somebody that you can show your students to kind of strive for in terms of like mindset and grit and perseverance. And that one resonated with me so much because it's such a great way to help students to realize that everything that you're doing in the classroom is not just for this grading period. It's literally for the rest of your middle school career, high school career, college, and beyond. So I just thought it was such a great way. Yeah, a great way to talk about engagement with students.
That's amazing. Yeah, because that's something that we've always talked about, even with some of the areas that we've focused on, that it is always that ongoing journey. It's not a one use, like we always say this single use projects and stuff as the example, but it's with everything though, isn't it? It's your entire life.
It's so interesting because I think people in general, like, this isn't just specific to teachers. I think it includes teachers, but I think it's just humans. I think it's leaders wherever they are. It's like okay, we're going to do this one thing, and it's like sort of a one-off, instead of thinking how you said, like, it's for life. What we are doing in the classroom is something that those students are taking with them on their life journey. And I think sometimes we forget that the day-to-day in the classroom is what they're really going to take with them. It isn't like, oh, it's a one project, right? It's the whole mindset around portfolios, for example. That isn't just a project, especially in art. That is literally going to be their mindset of life as an artist, right? So I love that idea. What I know about you is that you went to a really cool session on prompt engineering, and I want you to tell our listeners, what is prompt engineering and why do you believe it's going to help teachers and students in the classroom?
Yes. I feel like I'm trying so hard to remember this session. I know that it was great. I feel this is the first week that I went back into the classroom, so
your brain is like your brain is like done.
It's a little mushy right now, and this is not a reflection on the presenter and their presentation. I know it was great, but I can definitely talk about prompt engineering.
Yes.
So what I've learned about prompt engineering since ChatGPT and all of these AI tools have become available is that it's the crafting of a prompt. So it's trying to leverage your prompt in a way that you will get the most, the best output from AI, right? Whatever platform you're using. And I think, and the second part of your question, I'm sorry, what was it?
Oh, no, I was just wondering, like, how do you see that benefiting teachers and students in the classroom or out of the classroom for that matter?
Yes, I think that I've read a couple of articles. I know that you guys have too, talking about AI and the proficiency of people who use AI, and talking about how if somebody is not a great writer and then they go to use AI, they're going to stay there. But if somebody has like a really high level of writing or critical thinking and they use a tool like AI, then they like exponentially grow in their skills. So it makes me think about prompt engineering. If it is taught in a way that is effective, to understand that you need to tell AI exactly what you need, because it doesn't know anything. It only knows what it knows, right? It's not a person. It's not pulling from like previous knowledge. Then it could really change people's lives. Like I have a personal example for that. My husband, we think that he might be undiagnosed dyslexic. And so whenever it comes to writing or communicating in written form, he has always struggled with it. And then when I introduced him to ChatGPT, I remember he told me, like, Christina, I feel like you just opened all of these doors for me that I didn't have previously. And I think about how powerful that is when we're able to expose people to a tool that could potentially change their lives. So
I think that's interesting, and I'm going to let Rick pop in because I know he's going to say something, being dyslexic and kind of how that helps him. And obviously it ties into his first question for me. One of the things that I personally started using, it was one of the very first things I started using ChatGPT for. It was in the middle of my ADHD diagnosis where I was trying to learn if I needed the medicine or if I could kind of get by without it, right? So it's always a journey trying to figure that out. But one of the things I told ChatGPT very early on, and I remember telling it, especially I have a coding background, so I always think of ChatGPT like I would coding something, right? And so you have to be very specific. And Rick knows this, if you don't code it correctly, you're not going to get the output you want. Like that's just like if you're coding Wakelet, the Wakelet collection's not going to work for you, right? So I told ChatGPT that I had ADHD, that I am a visual learner, that it's hard for me to read paragraphs and paragraphs of text. So every time from now on that it responds to me, I need it in bullet format. I need a choice of the answers and I need a visual. And I wanted to give me that in every single inquiry that I ask. And it just started doing it. And so I can quickly review things, learn things, refresh on things, just by giving it that one prompt, and it accommodates for me on a daily basis. So I love
incredible.
I love that you pointed that out about your husband. Rick, what say you on the dyslexia front?
I mean, I would still say that I still struggle when it comes to writing prompts. Primarily
which is interesting because you're a coder.
I'm a coder, but the thing is, like, the difference between writing actual words and trying to use the words to describe an image inside your head to writing code, I can get an image in my head and then I'm basically piecing the patterns in code. It's not like I'm trying to make sure that the grammar's correct.
Sure.
Obviously, spelling, yes, to some extent. But really, when I'm looking at code, it's just because I'm classed as a front-end developer, which is basically what you see on a website when you go on your browser. That's what I work on. But I look at that in a particular way, which allows me to code it. So when it comes to actually writing something, that's where I struggle because I'm very visual. There was a very good Instagram post that basically said, how do you think when you speak? Is it through an image that you describe, or do you speak just with your words? A dyslexic person does exactly both, and it is literally like having they put a very good explanation to it. It's like having a clip from a sports event, could be soccer, could be rugby, could be ice hockey, whatever, and having 50 commentators all commentating on the same clip at the same time.
That's
And
what it's
that's
like for
how
me
I...
just at the store.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to actually trying to write a prompt, I can do it. Can I do it at the best level? I'm working towards it, and I'm learning more. Rather than just starting with a feed on like ChatGPT, I'm creating projects where I'm tailoring the responses that I'm needing based on what it is that I'm working on. So it could be a coding project, it could be a life tracker, or whatever it is, but making sure that I'm being as detailed as I can, and I'm being able to reiterate on that initial characteristics of the AI that I want for that particular project. That's where I'm finding the best use for it, but it takes time.
I'm
Definitely being
curious.
dyslexic, I'd say I'm slow with it.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because Christina's, sharing this about her husband. I'm interested, does he have his own ChatGPT account, or is he using yours? Like, does he have his own now and he's like utilizing it, or is he using yours like when he needs it, just randomly?
Yeah. I know that he was using mine for a while, but now I don't know. I need to check his phone and see if he
So don't you think that's interesting? Because if two people are using the same account, and like, I don't even know that we've even thought through that or discussed that ever until this moment. But I started thinking as you were talking, Rick, like, sharing the account will definitely alter the results, because if somebody is sharing it with me, they're getting an accommodation that they may not need, right? So
yep, that's true.
That's a very good point, because that's the thing. If you and I shared it at ChatGPT account, I'm going to ask something and it's going to spit out, well, with your ADHD. I'm like, what ADHD?
Although I will say, I think there is such a common thread with the neurodivergence. Like, I definitely understand when Rick says, and you should ask your husband this too, Christina, but like, I understand what he's saying when he says he has, 200 commentators. I'm not even kidding. When I go to the store, it is as if I have all of these commentators commentating as I'm walking through the grocery store. And it is all over the place. And that is why I needed ChatGPT to help me in some capacity. Sometimes at the store, I will ask it questions. So. Okay, so I'm going to kind of change the tide here a bit. Rick looks worried. He has his worried face on.
I always have my worried face on for these podcasts.
Okay, so let me figure out how I'm going to formulate this. Okay, so I found a video, and it was a video of you talking, and it was in response to a comment that someone made. And their comment was essentially this: so people who can't teach become admin or coaches. I'm going to repeat that. There is a mindset out there of people who think that if you can't teach, the automatic path for you is to become an administrator or a coach. And you were essentially responding to that question, which I thought was amazing. So if you follow Christina, and you can after this episode, because we'll tell you where, which I thought was really interesting, but it reminded me of that quote. And essentially, there's a common saying: those who can do and those who can't teach. I'm sure if you're listening, you've heard that. It's actually, that is a saying that is actually just an adjustment from a George Bernard Shaw play, where he sort of switched the words around. What I want to know, based on that video and based on those quotes, I want to know, how do you personally overcome criticism? No matter what you're doing, no matter what role you're in, what you're creating, what are some pointers you have for people who are experiencing criticism, or people coming at them with those quotes like, oh, you're a principal or a superintendent, and that automatically means that you can't teach. What do you say? What do you do? Give us some tips, Christina, because Rick and I, we experience criticism with this podcast even. So what are some tips you have for those listening?
Where to start? Okay. I think it reminds me of teaching, because if a student comes at me and says something disrespectful or completely out of line. In my younger years, it was always very difficult to not react, right? But as I got older, I started to learn, oh, like, let me be more curious before I am judgmental. So let me understand, like, have you eaten? Are you hungry? Like, did you get good sleep? You know, like, like seriously.
That is awesome. Can you just repeat that one more time?
Yeah. Are you hungry? Like, and it's funny because you think about teenagers just eating constantly, and it's a funny joke, but then sometimes it could be something really serious. Like, has your family gone without food for a while? You know, I think about it from that lens. Like, you're like the Maslow hierarchy of needs, you know, like, are you safe? Did you get sleep last night? Did something just happen in a class before? Then, you know what I'm saying? So, it's like, it's a whole mindset shift that no matter if it's a student or an adult or whoever, or somebody close to you or not close to you, like, everybody has a story. I heard this quote, I think it was at TCA. I'm trying to remember who said it, and I can't remember right now.
We'll say it out there and we'll find it.
Adolf Brown, something like that. Okay. But he said, you don't have to know everybody's story. You just have to know that everybody has a story. And so that really stuck with me. So when I get criticized, I think that the first thing that I think of is I consider the source, right? Who is telling me this and what could their intentions be behind it? So specifically for that person on TikTok that replied to that video, it's first of all, it's not anything I haven't heard before being in that role. And second, I don't know them. I don't know their story. I don't know if they've been burned by coaches before, because I've heard that before too, where some coaches out there in the world have turned into like mini admin and have not been like a supportive partner and have been more, you know, authoritative, evaluative instead of being a partner in their growth. So like maybe somebody had that experience and now that's the lens that they see the world through. And so that was, you know, like hurt people, all those things. So I think that curiosity and empathy, when you lead with that kind of protects you, and I feel like kind of removes you from like the sting of comments like that. I think that's probably the biggest tip that I could give. There's more, but
that was a fire tip. Can you repeat? Like that is incredible. And I am so glad you said that. Curiosity is something that I think is really at the forefront of your entire story. Just like the things that you shared with us, the things I see you sharing online. So I am curious to know this, and I'm sure Rick has a question. He's so patiently waiting there. For a second, I thought he was frozen or his camera did a weird thing because I was like, "Why is he blinking?"
So still and just really get your questioning.
It freaks me out. Please don't do that. Okay, so Christina, I'm curious. What are the best learning strategies from your time in the classroom as a teacher, even as you were explaining, you know, when you were working with the students before you became a teacher? What are some of the best learning strategies for students that you found really work? They're tried and true. If you had 3 to share with our listeners, or even just one, what would it be?
Okay. Learning strategy that's tried and true. I think about when you are teaching a concept or a skill, especially if it's new, or even just giving out directions for a task, like chunking everything into like bite-sized pieces. So that way students can digest exactly what you're asking them to do. I feel like, and then, to piggyback off of that, checking for understanding. I feel like that is very underrated. And that is something, it really, really is. And
I think there's a lot of assumptions going out like, okay, we're moving on. And I'm like, whoa.
I think that I'm very guilty of it too, just especially if you're on a time crunch. But man, taking the time to make sure that everybody understands or that everybody is on the same page all at the same time. I'm thinking about this from the art room, right? Just making sure that is everybody following with me? Do we know what's going on? So checking for understanding. And so that's 2. The third one, I think that, and I understand why. I think that a lot of people are hesitant when it comes to collaboration. And it could be like collaborating on a project or even just discussion in general, allowing students to talk and process out loud with each other. I think that that's a really powerful strategy that I will definitely be working on this school year. And I think that it's okay if it's messy in the beginning because everybody's learning. And as long as you have those expectations of this is the noise level you should be at. These are the types of words you should be saying, like explicit instruction, because sometimes we, like you just said, we assume stuff and we assume they should know how to talk in a classroom. They should know how to have a conversation, but they don't, you know, like,
exactly.
And so we have to teach those things. So I think that those three are always the things that are on the top of my mind that I try to do really well in my classroom.
Christina, your answers are fire. I don't even know what to do. Like if you're listening and you didn't know Christina, now you know. You should follow her. She's worth the follow. She has some really, really great information. Rick has been so gracious, and he started blinking. As you were talking, Christina,
so
he was like blinking so much that I was like, okay.
I'm making sure that you know that I'm not froze.
Hold on, Ghostwriter. That was a lot of blinking.
That's amazing.
I'm just doing Morse code through blinking while you're talking at the moment. See if you actually recognize.
You're asking for help from our viewers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give you the like really tough, hard questions, but there's a question that I do have because Tisha brought it up with me beforehand. And apparently I'm supposed to know something about it because apparently I was on a Clubhouse call when Clubhouse was a big thing back during 2020. Was it 2020?
Yeah.
2019,
2021.
A gentleman called Jim Knight.
Oh,
and
Jim
I believe you are a fan.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, I Googled Jim Knight and it came up with a UK politician. And I don't know if it's the same person or not. So I'm very confused of who Jim Knight is. I would love to know. And also, what is he bringing to education? I mean, I could be wrong. He might not even be involved in education. So I would love to know. I'm going for the more easy breezy kind of questions, but I'm very curious.
Cover girl. Yes. Sorry.
I forgot that you always related that to that.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Christina.
Okay. I am a huge Jim Knight fan. I want to be his friend so bad. He is an education researcher, and he talks about instructional coaching. And so he's in the world of instructional coaching and the impact that coaching can have on classrooms, on teachers, and on students. And so he's an author, he's a speaker, he has a group called the Instructional Coaching Group. They have a social media presence, so I would encourage everyone to go follow them. They're so great. And I feel like he has really influenced me in terms of becoming a partner with teachers and just a partner with people in general. And he's part of the reason why I feel like I try to lead with curiosity and empathy, because that's what he talks about a lot. And he really inspired me when I was first in the instructional coaching world, and I saw him speak at TCEA. And he talked about instructional coaches. And this is probably one of the things that I would tell somebody who is skeptical or who has been burned by instructional coaching, to know that not every person is like that, right? Because when you are an instructional coach and you coach a teacher, you not only affect their students that school year, you affect all of the students that come through that teacher's classroom. That's thousands of kids for however long that teacher is teaching. So when he said that quote, that got me so pumped and fired up for coaching, the potential to have such a big impact on the classroom and on students. So he's wonderful. Everyone should follow him. He's the best.
I love that Rick asked you that question. It's true. Rick heard Jim Knight on a Clubhouse call because I got to host a room with Jim Knight way back in 2021. I had a friend who was working closely with him that I met on Clubhouse, and we invited him to be a guest. So Rick has some reference of Jim Knight. I thought it was just funny how he asked that question. I love how your eyebrows are like.
This was 4 or 5 years ago, and I was really still trying to understand if Tish was a standard teacher or not. So everything back then
story.
is, that's a whole fun story. This was all before Tish joined Wakelet
Talk
and everything.
about criticism.
And we went into...
Rick definitely thought I was a standard teacher who didn't know how to troubleshoot technology.
Because I was constantly getting all of her like bugs, issues
feedback.
with feedback is a nicer way of saying it. For Wakelet, so I just got bombarded with every single one, which was probably like twice a week. She's definitely kept me busy through those early days. But,
early days.
But yeah, I was very curious about who Jim. I'm going to Google and make sure that I actually find the right one.
And you should
not
follow
start looking
him.
At a British
like you
MP.
should definitely, Rick, follow him from the Play Ed 3 account. I definitely think, just like Christina said, you're going to learn a whole lot from him. He is tried and true. We love, I mean, any instructional digital learning coach, instructional technology specialist, they all know Jim Knight. It always comes up. So it's always good to have leaders like that, Christina. And obviously we know you're a fan of Jim Knight. Who else is an educator or an ed tech guru that you learn from most, that you're inspired by, and that you believe everyone should follow aside from Jim Knight? Is there somebody else?
Oh, there's so many. I can name a couple. So first off the bat, Matt Miller, another person I want to be best friends with. Like, oh my gosh, he's so incredible. Like the amount of resources that him and his team make for free for teachers, it's inspiring. Like it's incredible.
He's incredible. He is a very, very awesome, nice guy. So shout out Matt Miller also, who we will have on the podcast soon. We just haven't asked him yet. He's back in the classroom, which is fantastic. I'm glad we waited to have him as a guest. Okay, so Matt Miller, Jim Knight, you got some heavy hitters. Who else do you have, Christina?
Adam Sparks from Short Answer. He's fantastic. He is very much pedagogy first. Like tools are great. Amazing. But pedagogy first. His company is Short Answer. So they have a platform that gamifies writing, and it's a fantastic platform. But everything that he does is intentional and research based. And he's just a big proponent of pedagogy first over tools, and that's how he leads everything.
We love that. We love that. And as you are talking, I am going to connect with him, and I'm going to say, Christina has sent me. I'm literally saying it right now, Christina, podcast guest. I'm even giving you credit because I want him to know.
I love how you're doing this during the podcast.
Yeah, why not? Why? I mean, are you kidding me? Why not?
I know you can multitask and I can't, because it's a good job you're doing it, because you'd literally just hire me just typing away going and saying nothing. So I'm happy that you're able to keep that going.
No, I think that's fabulous. We have Matt Miller, we have Adam Sparks, we have Jim Knight. Is there anybody else that you want to shout out before we move on to the next couple of questions that we have for you?
I do. I actually have a really good friend of mine. Her name is Ashley Shinde, and she is an instructional coach here in my district, and she's fantastic. I've learned a lot from her about social media and social media presence, and then just coaching in general. And so I wanted to shout her out as well. I think everybody should go follow her too.
I love that, because you know what you've just modeled? You've modeled for everyone. Follow those bigger influencers. Follow the people that believe in what you believe in, but also shout out and follow the people in your PLN that are close to you, that are in your circle, making you better, which I think we all should do. Christina, you're so important. This is so good. This is such a fun episode. Well, next up, Christina.
Oh no!
Oh dear, here we go. It's not the fun bit now.
Oh no!
So we're gonna go a little bit serious on it, and then I got some more fun stuff. Okay, so this is like not fun. And it is a topic that I'm asking all of our guests about, and I'm going to continue to ask this question, so everybody is really getting the same question. Look at Rick. His eyebrows are lifting again like he's afraid.
I'm blinking twice for help right now. So
okay. So as you know, or maybe not everybody knows, there's a House bill signed, all of that, this new ban on student cell phone use in schools. I'm bringing it up all the time because I do think it is something that is going to impact everyone, not
Yeah.
just teachers, not just the students in the school, not just the parents. I think it's going to impact everyone. Like it has a ripple effect. And I have been researching this since it got signed, and we know that it is going to happen. Now, school hasn't started everywhere yet, but school, by the time your episode comes out, school will already have been in session for several districts for a couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Okay.
There are some people not happy with this. Side note, it's mostly the parents that I'm seeing and unhappy about that they're paying for the cell phone and the students aren't going to be able to use the cell phone essentially in any capacity at school, right? Like where I think there were some instances where students could use cell phones at lunchtime, or if they were in a dual credit class, they could bring their own laptop so they could do their college work. Then you have the majority of people who are working with the students, which is going to include your superintendents, your teachers, who absolutely support it or are okay with it, stating that, like Wichita Falls ISD Superintendent Donnie Lee says he's okay with it because he believes that cell phones are a huge distraction in schools. What is really interesting to me is that he stresses they're a huge distraction in schools, and my argument would be I think they're a distraction everywhere, not just in schools. But what really gets me, and Rick and I have talked about this on several levels, and we have an episode coming out soon where we're going to talk a little bit about just the teacher assessment and kind of how teachers get assessed, especially in Texas. But it says that this ban only applies to students, not teachers or administrators. And I want to know, this is a question I'm not asking anybody else, I'm asking you.
Oh, no.
Because we were teachers. Like you and I have very similar stories. Like if I have this belief as a leader that I'm not going to ask my students to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. And so it's interesting because it's banning cell phone use from students, but not teachers or administrators. So I would like for you to tell me how you would go into a classroom with no student cell phone use. How are you going to go about conducting your own cell phone use while you're at school?
That is such a great question. It's so interesting because I started thinking about this yesterday because of a comment that one of my administrators said. And what was he talking about? Oh, he was talking about how to get a hold of administrators throughout the day. And he was saying, you can text me or call me if you want, but we have an away for the day policy. So I'm putting my phone away. And when he said that, I was like, yep, that's what good leaders do. They model the behavior. So then now that's making me rethink everything because, I was thinking about having Google Forms that I can just save on my phone and just fill them out really quickly for different things, and playing music on my phone in my classroom. But now I'm like, man, like if it's truly a way for the day, then that's what good leaders do, is they model the behavior, right? So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be figuring out how to put my phone away for the day. That way students can see, like, no, we all buy into this idea that all of us are going to be locked into school and not checking our phones. So that's what I'm thinking through right now. And we'll see how it goes.
I love this because you're thinking through it and you're being curious. And now I'm going to push back on you a little bit because now we're like friends, Christina.
Okay.
Rick always knows I'm going to have something. Okay. And I think this is a lovely fairy tale story, right? Like I always say, like we always paint a really good picture and then reality hits. And so as an ADHDer, I'm going to tell you, Christina, I'm going to be a much better student when I am able to have headphones and I can listen to music. And if I can't do that on a district device and I need to do that on my phone, I know that's going to help me focus if I'm not medicated. And then also, I use my phone for voice memos to myself so I can remember things. And yes, I could do it on a district device, but that might be distracting, or there might be something blocking my ability to do that. And then if I lose my district device, is that going to be okay? I'm not going to lose my phone per se, but I'm not going to have access to my phone at all. I think my question is, how do you approach that? Now, I know there can be the 504, like there's different things, but think about it. If I'm a 504 student and I have my own policy and Rick's beside me with the same struggle, mind you, the exact same struggle, and I'm able to be on my device for those accommodations, but he can't be. Like we always talk about equity all the time. And I'm like, that's not equal, right? So I'm just, you don't even have to have an answer. I just really want our listeners to be thinking about all of these possibilities. And I keep pushing back on this idea, just like Rick knew I would based on our book, because if we put the phones away, that's awesome. But those students are still going out into the world with their phones later, and they may not know how to not be distracted or how to utilize them. How do you think we teach students cell phone device usage in a professional setting if they're not able to use it ever?
That is a really great question. I feel like it's almost like two extremes, because at one point it was BYOD, right? It was bring your own device, bring all the devices everywhere.
Right.
And then we saw the fruit of that. And I think that a lot of teachers would argue that it was more harmful than it was helpful. And I shouldn't speak for all teachers. Like I have heard, I'll say that I've heard that. I should say that I heard that socialization is an issue. Being able to stay on task when you have a notification going off on your phone or on your watch. Like that's what I struggle with my watch, is I have to mute my text messages coming through or take them off.
Notifications on my phone at all. I have none. And it is because this is what I'm saying. Like I was always of the belief that we teach our students how to accommodate for themselves. So if I am a 504 student, I also need to be learning how to accommodate for myself. And as an adult now with ADHD in a professional setting, so when I am at my job at Smart Technologies, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I do not have notifications coming through, and I do not wear my watch, and I don't have any notifications coming on my computer. Like I am very strategic with notifications, but I don't know that students are necessarily empowered to know how to go about doing that when they get into those situations, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So it's definitely not something we're going to solve on any podcast. What I will find, I think was going to be interesting, is watching the play out of parents and their anger, because that's what I'm seeing on TikTok right now, is a whole bunch of parents who are like, I'm going to send my kid to school with a walkie-talkie. And I'm like, I want to be like, do know they're going to confiscate your walkie-talkies, right? Like,
I think we should bring back pagers.
Oh my gosh.
I had a pager when I was in school. That was before I got a mobile. I had a pager, so that would.
I mean, but what are the students going to do if the parents are paging them? Like, is it like they can go, like, I guess go to the office and call home? I don't know.
We had a payphone in our school.
Well, so that's interesting. Is that something that's coming back? Because imagine the secretary, she's going to be in, like, the front office secretary is already like in hell, genuinely. But then I think about things like, okay, well, now they don't have a way to communicate. So now all the communication is going to come through one person, or the PEMS person who is used to sending out schedules via email and, like, mobile devices. Now you got to print off every single schedule. And Christina and I know, Rick, that the students get their schedule on the first day, and they're going to get another schedule on the second day because there might be changes. And then they're probably going to get a third schedule on the third day. Think about that. If you have, 5,000 high school students and you got to print that out for 3 days in a row, that's insane. I just don't even, it's interesting. I can't wait to just see. Okay. Yeah. So that was the serious topic. And Rick is just tired of me talking about it, I think, at this point, aren't you?
I've heard it nearly every episode for the last, when did we start it?
Sorry, Rick. Sorry, but you're going to hear about it more.
I'm sure it's been in every episode by now. I think it's all become a blur.
Imagine if we just took Rick's cell phone away. I think they should do that so he understands and empathizes with all the students.
You do that, I'm going to get Neuralink and be one of those test subjects just so I can actually have my phone permanently.
Oh, what about the glasses? Like, the parents are going to buy the glasses, too, for their kids. It's so interesting. Well, those are going to get confiscated, too. I don't know.
They are.
We're going to move on. Pencils and pep talks. Pencils and pep talks is your, I know, Rick is like so confused.
What are you talking about?
I know.
I honestly thought you'd change the name of Juicebox Confessions then.
I know.
I nearly had
This
a
has
heart
been the
attack
most fun
moment thinking
episode
she's
with you,
changing
Christina.
things on the fly.
No, but Pencils and Pep Talks is like Christina's like tagline. It's like her, it's her username, right?
Apologize.
It's her brand. Rick, come on.
I apologize. I did some research. Clearly, didn't do enough research.
I told you while you were just sitting back waiting for Christina to arrive, I was over here doing all of my research. Okay, so I want to know, Pencils and Pep Talks, it is your brand. I love that brand. I love the idea. I want to know, what is one pep talk? You know, just too long, don't read. You can give me the real quick version, but what is one pep talk that has completely changed your life?
Oh my gosh. One pep talk. Man, I feel like this morning, my husband and I were talking about on the way to breakfast this morning how both of us suffer from imposter syndrome. And I'm sure that you guys know what that's like. I feel like most people do. We don't realize that. And just how those voices in our heads that tell us that we're not enough, that we're not capable or competent, like all of those feel so loud and they feel so real. And he reminded me, like, that's only coming from you though. Like everyone else around you is telling you like you're doing a great job.
Yes.
We are so glad that you're here, because I'm at a new school this year and I've gotten nothing but support. It's been amazing. I can't turn the corner in my hallways without somebody going, hey, are you okay? What do you need? Just email me. What can I do to help you? Like, it's been so amazing. And so him reminding me that like your perceptions are not always reality, and you have to like post something on, I think he told me, post something on the front door. That way, when you walk out of the house every day, you remember like, this is the truth, not like all the negativity in your head. That really helped me out.
So if you don't have the people around you telling you the opposite messages of your imposter, which I give my imposter a name, but like if you aren't surrounded by the people that are telling you the opposite message, you're around the wrong people. Wouldn't you agree?
I think so. I think it is definitely a balance, because there's also self-awareness. And so you have to be able to see, okay, could it be me? Like, is there something else I could do that is better for whatever situation I'm in? But for the most part, you're right, though. You have to be able to find the people who are going to be able to pep you up, coach you up, but then also sometimes tell you, like,
be real with you.
Yes.
That is how you're around the right people, because the majority of the time they are going to build you up, but they're going to take you aside just like a coach and be like, hey, like, this is the thing you need to fix, or this is the thing that, you know, you think you're doing great at, and here are some pointers. That's awesome. I love that. The pep talks are good. I love the Pencils and Pep Talks vibe that you have going. You have been so fun. We're going to do one more fun thing, Rick. Are you ready?
I suppose so. I've always got to be ready with these things. Yeah.
Ready or not,
exactly.
Here it comes.
Ready or not.
So, Christina, this is what we call Juice Box Confessionals with Tisha Ponzio.
Now you're telling me to get ready and you're just jumping straight into our schedule.
Well,
all right.
Okay. This is a quick fire. Okay, quick fire. Okay. So that means that I'm going to give you two things, and you're going to pick one very quickly, and we're going to go through a series of those, then I'm going to have a couple of questions. It's going to be fun. So airbrush or puff paint?
Say it again? Sorry.
Airbrush or puff paint?
Puff paint.
Okay. Scrunchies or slap bracelets?
Scrunchies.
Bob Ross or Lisa Frank?
Bob Ross.
I already knew the answer to that question.
Yes.
But why? Why are you picking Bob Ross? That's what I want to know.
I feel like Bob Ross, it's the same reason why I love Jim Knight. Like, it's all the people who are here to pump people up and to empower people that don't necessarily feel like they're good enough. Or like, I think about this in terms of art, because I just wrote a Bob Ross quote on one of my little like whiteboard. That's a trend right now for artists that says, talent is a pursued interest. Anything that you can practice, you can do. And so like any personality that's going to be hyping somebody up to like, just try it. You can do it. You just have to practice. Like, that's the person that I gravitate towards the most. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I feel like he really is frozen this time.
I'm trying to keep up, really and then I'm just getting
Poor Rick.
Whoever is listening to this episode is going to have a fun time. Okay, Christina,
I think they're thinking, what the hell is going on, to be honest.
So, what is your ultimate throwback creativity tool? So let's take Christina when she was a girl. Ooh. Something that you loved and you wish you could have it and share it with your students. What was it?
I was obsessed with the spirographs. I think that's what they were called. Do you remember? The circle things. Yes. I loved that. Yeah, when I was a kid. And that's so funny because I feel like I always gravitate towards geometrical patterns or just patterns in general. And I feel like that started with that or maybe even cool. Earlier. But yeah.
That's cool. Okay, this is the last Juicebox confessional. As you can tell, they're very retro.
Yes.
Which 90s song gives you painting power? So which 90s song is giving you that creativity power? It happens every time you hear it.
Oh, I don't know if it was in the 90s though. This might be a 2000s
It's
song.
okay. It can be 2000s.
Okay. Bittersweet Symphony.
Oh,
the Verb.
Nice.
Yes, that's a good one.
I
just heard it.
Did
I think
you?
yesterday in my classroom when I was cleaning, I was like, "Oh, I forgot about this song."
Yeah. No, that's a really good one. Well, Christina, that is the end of Juicebox Confessionals, and I just have to tell you that I've had such a fun time with you on this episode. Rick, how about you?
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Absolutely. I mean, it's been very, I would say, off the wall from my side. No, it's been absolutely fun. And
2 Texas girls and someone from the UK.
And a Brit. 2 Texas girls and a Brit.
That is the name of the episode. 2 Texas girls and a Brit.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for having me. You guys are amazing. And thank y'all for everything you do for educators.
Absolutely.
That means a lot.
Where can everyone follow you?
Yeah.
Yes. So Pencils and Pep Talks, that's on TikTok and on Instagram.
Amazing. And the links to those are in our show notes. So if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, you can find them there and go give Christina a follow.
Yes.
So I think that is the end of our episode.
That is true.
So Christina, thank you for joining us. And to everybody listening, we'll see you in next week's episode. Bye. For now.
Thank you for being a part of this episode. Continue the conversation with us online. Subscribe and follow, and let us know if you'd like to join as a guest or if there's someone you'd like to hear from.
We'd love to connect with you on X, Instagram, and TikTok. All links and show notes will be available in the episode description. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and playing.